wonder you're having troubles. You got it in wrong. You shoved the spar in too tight. That's what makes it bend. It's your rigging on the line.
Oh.
What's the matter with you, Pete? You should have been able to see that.
All right, Pop.
I worked on models when I was a kid. I made mistakes, but none as simple as that. What you should have
All right,
done
so I'm simple. Everybody can't be as good as you.
Don't use that tone to me. Where you going?
Out.
You're always going out.
Yeah. I wonder why.
What did I say this time? I was only trying to help.
Well, that's always the way it turns out. Drives me crazy. I just can't understand it. Two of them, fighting all the time. And Pete'll just go out, disappear.
I see.
Now the thing was a school. Pete isn't the kind of a boy to be put out of school.
Well, Pete is my responsibility as far as the juvenile court is concerned. It's important that I talk to him as soon as possible. Would you tell him that when he comes in?
Well, of course. But, Mr. Matthews, I'm sure of one thing. I know my son. I know he'd never do anything he'd have to be ashamed of. Never.
Pushover. Just like taking candy. Now work quiet like I told you. Come on, Pete, I'll give you full stop. Well, you can make it easy. What are you waiting on? That watchman, are you sure he can't hear us? I told you he's down at the other end making his rounds. Now, come on, get up there.
Who's that? What you doing to that
Hey, Vince, what do we do? Run, what do you think? Get on! You can't shut me down! Get on yourself, you yellow punk. What do you want me to do, carry you?
Hold it. You over there. I see you.
Makes nice reading, huh? Young hoodlums attempt truck depot hijack. Watchman says boys were school age. Sure helps what we're trying to do here in juvenile.
Well, they're printing the facts, John.
Facts. The boys think they're big heads. We're made to look like we're not doing our job. That phone hasn't stopped ringing all day. Everybody indignant and each with a solution. Why don't they print the real facts?
The world is filled with Monday morning quarterbacks.
They get together on one thing, though. Their kids never do anything like this. It's always somebody else's kids.
Yeah, I know.
You've defended 4 or 5 from that area. You got one who's in a little probation trouble right now, haven't you? What's his name? Well, you bet. Lieutenant Roswell, juvenile. Yes, lady, I understand it. You're right, it's a Yes, madam, we're all taxpayers. This may go on for hours. Look, Bart, what'd you say that boy's name was?
Peter Adams.
Have you talked to him?
Well, he's pretty elusive.
Friendly suggestion. You better find out if he's mixed up in this thing, and do it as quick as you can.
All right.
Yes, I understand, lady. Certainly.
Did you read this yet?
I read it.
Ever seen anything like this in your life? What's happening to kids today? What do they want?
Has anybody ever bothered to ask them?
What?
Nothing.
Oh, speaking of kids, what time Mr. Stayout get home last night?
What time did you get home?
So the meeting ran a little late. I'm not 16 years old.
Ed.
I looked in his room when I came in. He was asleep or pretending to be. We're going to have a few words, that grown-up son of mine and me. We're going to get a few things straight, believe me.
Ed, please. Don't argue with him. Don't yell at him. Just talk to him. You're his father.
I'll talk, all right.
That tone of voice, that look on your face, you're so impatient.
And there's nothing to be impatient about. Is that what you're trying to say? Oh, what's the matter with you, Ruth? The public defender gets him off once. He turns right around and gets in more trouble. Explain it to me. Go ahead, I want to hear it.
Ed, please.
You know what the next step is? This. Something like this.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
All right. I know what you're going to say. That's for bums and hoodlums and not for boys like Pete. Well, I'm going to make sure it never gets that far. Well, the night owl. Where you going, Pete? To school? You like it so much you go on Saturdays these days? Well, I ask you a question.
I'm going out.
I'm going out. Just like that, huh? Sit down.
Eat some breakfast, Pete.
I'm not hungry.
And you're not very smart either. Or maybe you are. Maybe you're smart in school. Tell me about school, Pete. Especially about the last couple of weeks.
Ed,
Never mind, he's big enough to talk for himself now. Big enough to stay out of school. Well,
I wanted to tell you about it.
only you didn't. Things like that I gotta hear from Mr. Matthews, huh? Nice.
Pop, listen.
To what, a bunch of excuses? What are you trying to do to us? Take a look. Is this what you're heading for? Is this what's next? Hey, what's this? What happened to your jacket?
Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Let me see that.
Ed, what is it?
I tell you, it's nothing. I tore it. I tore it playing.
Playing? Playing where? On a fence? You're the one they're looking for. You did it.
No, Pop, no.
It's all right here in the papers. Look at me, look at me.
It wasn't me. I wasn't there.
Why do you lie to me? Why do you lie?
Ed, stop it. Are you crazy? Stop it.
That's what I raised. That. A thief.
Don't say a thing like that.
Why? Just tell me why. Name me one meal he ever went without. One thing he ever wanted that I never gave him. Just name me one thing.
That's what you say. You never gave a hoot about me till I got into trouble. If you ever talked to me, you made me feel like a nobody. Always you were a genius trying to get something through my thick head. Every time you talk to me, you make me feel like I'm nothing. And you never let up, do you? Last month we went to a ball game. So what? You gotta make everything a lesson. Point out how good this guy is and that guy is and how good you were and why I ain't that good. Every time. Everything you ever did had a hook on it. And I was the poor sucker on the end.
Come back here.
What for? You wouldn't even like the way I did that.
So what? Nothing in this world works every time out. Little trouble's good for you. Make a man out of you. So we blew a chance to make a few bucks. Nobody got caught, did they? And we learned something.
Yeah, I learned something.
What do you mean by that, crack?
I mean, you're not as smart as you think you are. You cased the joint. You said the watchman was down at the other end. You think you can handle both of us?
Yeah, with one hand. Now sit down. This is stupid. This kind of yak ain't getting us no loot.
Well, look who walked in. The fence climber.
You shut your mouth. Come on in, Pete. Now listen, I don't want you guys needling each other. I'm the boss around here. You dig that?
Sure, Vince, sure.
All right. Now, what's the smartest thing we can do right now?
What do you mean?
Come on, stay with me. We blew this last one. Where do we hit next?
The other end of town.
You got any ideas, Al? That's what I thought. We go right back to the same place.
So soon after
That's the way a smart operator works, punk. Besides, who'd be expecting us to come back there so soon? Don't you see?
How, Vince? How do we do it?
It's a cinch. The same way as before. That night watchman won't expect us so soon. Well, let me hear from you.
I'm in.
I'm in, too.
How about you, Pete? You gonna climb that fence again?
Why not?